Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Oh, that's better. Huh? That used to be the energy when I used to sit where you guys are sitting today. You know, they say that college, you can walk out of the college, but college never walks out of you. And I think that's the real example when I'm standing in front of you, not as an alumnus, but as a speaker also. You know, it's a nostalgic feeling, honestly, because these walls, these classrooms, the meetings at these dhabas has shaped me, probably what I am today and standing in front of you. Coming back to the topic, I have a total experience of almost 2 decades in financial industry, and today I am going to give you a quick snapshot on how can you create wealth in your life journey. It appears very easy, but trust you me folks, it's not that easy. And we'll try and cover that up in 15 minutes through a very basic presentation, and then we'll open it up for Q&A, and probably I'll help you out solving some of your doubts. Now, you know, while I was thinking how to start this conversation, 3 चीज़ें होती हैं जब हम फाइनेंस की या फाइनेंशियल प्लानिंग की बात करते हैं. पहली, इनकम, जो आपके कैश फ्लोज हैं, जो आप कमाते हैं. दूसरी, आपके एक्सपेंस, जो आपके खर्चे होते हैं. और तीसरी, आपकी क्या बचेगा? सेविंग्स. सो मैं ऐसे बीच बीच में आप लोगों से सवाल पूछूंगा ताकि आप लोग सोए ना और ध्यान दें. So generally what happens is that people use the equation which is income minus expense is equals to savings, which means कि उनको जो कैश फ्लो आया पहले उन्होंने खर्चा किया और फिर जो बचा उसको उन्होंने सेव किया. Ideally when you plan to create wealth in your life, the equation has to be income minus savings is equals to expense. Which means आपने जो पैसा कमाया पहले आप उसमें से अपने सेविंग्स रेशियो को अलग करिए कि आप कितना पैसा बचाएंगे, and then whatever corpus is left that is supposed to be used for your expenses. Now there are various ratios, various methods to do that. एक बहुत simple basic rule होता है which is 50-30-20, which says out of 100 rupees 50 rupees should be spent on your basic necessities, 30% should be spent on your luxuries, and at least 20% should be saved. Depending on your individual capacity, you can change the percentage. For example, if I talk about myself, it's 50-25-25. 50% मैं बेसिक खर्चों पे इस्तेमाल करता हूँ, 25% सेव करता हूँ और 25% अपने लग्जरीज पे या अपने पैशन पे खर्चा करता हूँ. Now हमें सेविंग्स की जरूरत क्यों पड़ती है? बिकॉज वी हैव अ मॉन्स्टर बाय द नेम ऑफ इन्फ्लेशन. कैन एनीबडी टेल मी व्हाट्स इन्फ्लेशन इज? कम ऑन गाइज, आई नीड एन आंसर. यस प्लीज. इट्स गुड आफ्टरनून.
Eventual reduction in the value of money over time.
Correct. So basically inflation is something, in simple words, that if you have 100 rupees today, tomorrow they will price or they will cost 97, 96 because आपका वो inflation का factor जुड़ जाता है. Giving an example, let's say you order a pizza at your home and before you enjoy it, someone takes 1/4 of it and you are left with 3/4. That's what inflation do to your savings or investments. एक हमने आंकड़ा निकाला है कि 2014 में जो 100 रुपए थे, अगर 5% इन्फ्लेशन की आप बात करते हैं तो आज वो 58 रुपीज होंगे. And a very classic example which I always give is, you know, when I was of your age and my mom used to say कि बेटा ब्रेड लेके आओ, तो वो ब्रेड का जो पैकेट होता था वो 22-23 रुपए का मिलता था. कैन एनीबडी टेल मी व्हाट्स द प्राइस ऑफ दैट पैकेट टुडे? बोलो 55। सो 20 साल पहले जो ब्रेड का पैक 22-23 रुपए का था, आज वही ब्रेड का पैकेट आपको 50-55 रुपए पे मिलता है, और मोस्ट लाइकली आने वाले 10 साल 30 साल के बाद वही आपको 150-200 रुपए के बीच में मिलेगा। दैट इज वॉट इन्फ्लेशन इज ऑल अबाउट। हर वो चीज जो आपको आज एक्स कॉस्ट कर रही है, आने वाले टाइम में वो महंगी होगी बिकॉज ऑफ इन्फ्लेशन। नाउ हाउ डज इन्फ्लेशन इंपैक्ट योर एक्सपेंसेस एंड योर सेविंग्स? मोस्ट ऑफ योर यंगस्टर्स, एंड आई एम श्योर ज्यादा खर्चा अभी नहीं होता होगा, हॉस्टल में रहते हो, बट लेट्स एज्यूम यू हैव अ मंथली एक्सपेंस ऑफ 30,000 rupees. With 5% inflation year on year for next 20 years, that 30,000 will cost you roughly around 80,000. ये सब हम पढ़ते हैं, ये सब हमको पता है, लेकिन हम इस चीजों पे ध्यान नहीं देते हैं। क्यों? क्योंकि we have a habit of living in the moment, the typical this generation, you know, unlike mine which was not like this. Same thing with your savings. अगर आपके बैंक अकाउंट में आज 1 लाख रुपए है और 5% इन्फ्लेशन होता है, तो अगले 20 साल में उस 1 लाख रुपए की वैल्यू करीब करीब 36,000 रुपए रह जाती है। सो वाइल यू आर मेकिंग अ फाइनेंशियल प्लान फॉर योर सेल्फ, दैट हाउ यू विल डिजाइन फॉर नेक्स्ट 15, 20, 30 years, please ensure that your investments, your asset allocation is happening in a way that it earns a decent real return. So when I say real return, it's basically nominal return minus inflation, and that's what you call real return. Coming to the next slide, what are the hacks to have a strong portfolio or to beat inflation? Number one, you need to start early. When I say you need to start early, you need to start the moment you get your first paycheck. I understand सबके मन में होगा कि पहले सैलरी से घर वालों को गिफ्ट देना है, अपने फ्रेंड्स को कुछ लेके देना है, अपने लिए कुछ खरीदना है, बट माई सजेशन हियर इज द मोमेंट यू गेट योर फर्स्ट पे चेक, प्लीज एंश्योर दैट यू स्टार्ट सेविंग फ्रॉम दैट. सो द फर्स्ट हैक इज टू स्टार्ट अर्ली, start ASAP. Number two, graduate from savings to investment. Now there is a big difference in that, and what's the difference? Saving basically क्या है कि आपने पैसा सेविंग बैंक अकाउंट में रखा हुआ है और आपको लगता है कि जब 50,000, 1 लाख, 2 लाख जुड़ जाएंगे तब मैं उसको इन्वेस्ट करूंगा या इन्वेस्ट करूंगी, बट ऐसा नहीं होता. सेविंग्स बैंक्स में टिपिकली यू अर्न अ इंटरेस्ट ऑफ रफली बिटवीन 2 to 4%. That doesn't even beat your inflation, right? So you can start with as small as 500 rupees to in a SIP and graduate from saving that 1,000, 2,000 rupees in your savings bank account to in some investment, which could be in equity, fixed income, or anything like that. Warren Buffett, you've heard that name? Yes. Who is he? बोलो. यही 2-3 लोग जवाब दे रहे हैं. हाँ, okay, one of the richest man of the world, that is what I define him. He always says that if you can make your money work for you, then you have some ability, otherwise you have to work for your whole life. So hack number 3, put your money to work when you are sleeping or when you are idle. Ensure that your money is making money when you are sleeping in the night. Or again, my point is, it's not easy. It needs a lot of hard work, lot of discipline. Hack number 4, you worked hard for your money, so let your money work hard for you. Invest in those opportunities where you understand what the risk reward is. Do not just blindly follow any suggestion or anything which you get on social media. Hack number 5, benefit from the power of compounding. Okay, who will explain me power of compounding? Go ahead. Yeah. Perfect. So Einstein also said that compounding is the eighth wonder of the world. Okay. Now, while you talk about compounding, let me reiterate on the fact that when you look at the formula, which is future value is equals to present value, 1 plus r by 100 to the power n. सबसे ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम आती है जब लोग आर पे फोकस करते हैं, रेट ऑफ रिटर्न को मैक्सिमाइज करना है मुझको. वेयर इन if you want to enjoy power of compounding, you need to focus on n. That's the factor which will give you returns in a long period of time. So these are 5 basic hacks to safeguard from inflation and to build your portfolio. Generally, there are 3 stages, in life where you make investments and you make your money work for you. First stage is when you are, in that stage, 20s, wherein you start earning, you can take risk, you can allocate more towards investments, savings, and you are ready to take risk. आप risky assets में invest कर सकते हो because you want to generate return. By the time you reach my phase, which is 40s, I would probably prefer to preserve the wealth which I have created till now. मैं नहीं चाहूंगा कि अगर मेरा 100 रुपए का पोर्टफोलियो है तो अचानक से वो किसी ड्रॉडाउन के बाद 80 दिखे या 85 दिखे. I would try to safeguard that. And by the time, I reach into my 50s, 55, 58 and retire, I would want my money to generate income for me. That's wealth distribution phase. So these are 3 simple phases in life when you accumulate wealth and do your financial planning. 2 minutes on this slide. Why do we invest? We invest typically to achieve some goals, right? And what can be those goals? Of course, for young guys like you, could be buying a car, buying a house, overseas vacation. You have to look good on social media so that you get many likes there. But my friends, I always focus on one goal, which is a long-term goal, which is retirement. And generally, people like you and me do not think about it. Okay. All these goals which are mentioned here, except retirement, is fungible. When I say fungible, you may choose to go on overseas vacation or you may choose to do that vacation in India. You may want to spend on a flight, you may want to spend on a train journey, depending on the financial status or money which is required. You may want to buy a 4-bedroom house or a 6-bedroom house, depends on you. You can change your decision. Retirement is something which will occur, which will happen in each one of our life. चाहे वो 50 पे हो, 55 पे हो, 58 पे हो. And I know most of you must be thinking about fire now. What's fire? अगर कोई बताएगा तो मैं जानता हूं कि वो उस डायरेक्शन में काम कर रहा है. प्लीज. यस. Perfect. Thank you for helping me out. Financially independent, retire early. आप में से काफी लोग चाहते होंगे 40-45 पे रिटायर होना. But let me reiterate, it is not easy, boss. You have to make a substantial plan for that. Okay. Just to give you numbers in perspective, if your expense today is 100 rupees in a month, you should be aware that after 25 years, that 100 will be 250. Now, if you can generate 100 rupees from 1000 rupees with 10% interest, you should be having what kind of amount at 25 to generate 250. These are certain calculations which you guys need to do so that you can create wealth and you can create a corpus for your retirement in case you plan to retire early. पुराने ज़माने में एवरेज एज लगभग 72 साल होती थी, आज वो 80 से ऊपर हो गई है बिकॉज ऑफ मेडिकल एनहांसमेंट्स. सो इफ यू प्लान टू रिटायर एट 50, you should be aware that for next 30 years, with inflation in picture, with expenses in picture, you should have that much corpus. And that's what financial planning is all about. Moving ahead. Why should we do investment? To fight inflation, to provide regular income, be accessible and usable in parts and proportion. Now, at times, what a basic question which I get is that, we buy real estate. which is good. It's a good asset class to go into. But once you are into real estate where you have heavily invested, you are asset heavy but liquidity light. Alright, अगर आपको 25 लाख की जरूरत पड़ती है और आपके फ्लैट की कीमत 1 करोड़ है, you can't sell it in partial ways. Alright. So you are asset heavy. आपके पास assets बहुत होंगे but आपके पास liquidity नहीं होगी. So you have to choose the asset class in a wise manner that you are asset heavy also and liquidity heavy also. It should be low cost and it should grow over a period of time to beat inflation. Mutual funds, very simple way to invest, whether you want to invest in equity market, fixed income, commodities, even overseas now. You get a combination of funds. You can choose out of so many options which are there in the market. Okay, benefits of mutual funds. You have professionally managed team of fund managers who manage it. It's low cost, you know, one of the cheapest in terms of investment vehicles. Transparent, every month you get to see the details कि आपने कहाँ invest किया है और वो पैसा आगे कहाँ invest हो रहा है. Very convenient, just with few clicks of mouse. You know, you can make the investment, you can redeem, you can switch, easily liquidable, and your risk getting diversified. And last but not the least, it is highly regulated. In fact, the PPT which I am doing here is also complied by the regulator. So these are the benefits of mutual funds. Different ways you can invest in lump sum in one go. 10, 20, 50 हजार 1 लाख डाल सकते हैं. और आपको लगता है कि वो मुश्किल है तो आप 500 रुपए से एक SIP शुरू कर सकते हैं. SIP इज नथिंग बट हर महीने आपके अकाउंट से पैसा निकलेगा और वो इन्वेस्ट हो जाएगा. यू हैव टू जस्ट रजिस्टर इट फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम. क्विक snapshot on the reason why you should start early. This slide shows 4 different scenarios wherein somebody started at the age of 25, 30, 35 and 40. 1000 rupees invested per month, 8% return generated on the investment. The corpus which this person 25 वाला generate करेगा 60 साल तक is roughly around 23 lakhs. Wherein if you look at somebody like me who started the SIP at 40, तो 20 साल में वो सिर्फ 2,40,000 रुपए देगा और उसका कॉर्पस करीब करीब 6 लाख रुपए होगा. Choice again is in your hands. You want to start today or you want to start after 1 year. 1 साल का डिले 30 साल के टाइम फ्रेम में बहुत ज्यादा कॉस्ट करता है. I will suggest you to go back to internet and check the cost of delay calculators which are there, and that will give you a clear picture on that. Quick question for all of you. 2 individuals, one age 20, one age 30. Number of years invested 40, number of years invested 30 till 60. 10,000 invested every month for this time frame. Okay. At 8% return, can somebody tell me the difference कि दोनों के कॉर्पस में कितना डिफरेंस होगा? गेस भी चलेगा, कैलकुलेशन का टाइम नहीं है अभी अपने पास. Yeah, double. Perfect. You are almost there. So Mohit will invest 36 lakhs in that time frame and generate 1.41 crores with 8% return, whereas Rohit will create a corpus of roughly 3.25 crores. Okay, that's the difference. So this quiz I always play with the students because this is an eye opener. This tells you that if you delay your investment even by a month, it can cost you in long run. So key takeaways quickly, you need to invest to beat inflation. You can start investing with as little as 500 rupees. Invest your money to grow. Don't let it stay in your savings bank account. Idle money is nothing. Invest it. SIP is the best way in case you think that you can't do lump sum investment. And liquidity matters. Choose the asset class wisely so that you are asset heavy also and liquidity heavy also. And last but not the least, compounding is the 8th wonder. Do remember that equation which is future value, wherein you can create the corpus basis N not basis R. So with that, I will close the presentation here and open the forum for question and answer. Thank you, boys and girls, for listening so patiently.
थैंक यू सो मच सर, आपने इतनी जबरदस्त प्रेजेंटेशन दी और खास तौर पर जो सर का मैं समअप करना चाहूँ तो स्टूडेंट्स को मेरे हिसाब से यही मैसेज है कि आप जितनी जल्दी इन्वेस्टमेंट स्टार्ट करेंगे उतनी ही जल्दी आप फाइनेंशियली इंडिपेंडेंट भी हो जाएंगे. सर थैंक यू सो मच. और अब शुरुआत करते हैं हमारे Q&A सेशन की. और अब आप सभी के पास ये मौका है कि आपके मन में जो भी सवाल है फाइनेंशियल इंडिपेंडेंट होने से रिलेटेड, स्टॉक मार्केट से रिलेटेड, म्यूचुअल फंड से रिलेटेड, आप सीधा यहाँ पर सर से पूछ सकते हैं. तो सबसे पहले आप बताएं, रेज योर हैंड, कौन पूछना चाहेगा? काइंडली बताएं प्लीज. माइक दे दीजिए ताकि जितने दूसरे स्टूडेंट्स हैं वो भी समझ सकें सवाल.
Good afternoon, sir. In a rapidly evolving investment and regulatory environment, especially with the introduction of new products,
Sure.
yes, sir. So my question is, in a rapidly evolving investment and regulatory environment, and with the introduction of new products such as specialized investment funds, what can retail investors do, or how can they adjust to this new shift that is happening in the industry?
Okay, what's your name?
So Vidangshu.
Vidangshu. Okay. Good question. So, let me give you the perspective on the landscape which has changed in last 20 years. When I started my career in this industry, we used to have very simple products on equity, fixed income and hybrid category. Eventually, we saw AIFs coming into picture, PMS coming into picture. Similarly, SIF is also launched recently. My only thought on SIF is that let the product category evolve. One should not be in a hurry to invest in SIF just because it gives you the comfort of investing in certain places, which are not present in the retail landscape. For example, options ho gaya, currency derivatives ho gaya, interest rate derivatives ho gaya. So one has to wait, watch who launch what category of product, because my sense is that some of those products are there in the AIF category. They'll be the younger brother of that segment. So let's wait and watch how they evolve, how they perform, and then probably take the decision to include those products in your portfolio. Yeah.
सवाल बताएं. ये मौका बार बार नहीं मिलेगा आपको. यस, बताएं.
Good afternoon, sir. My question is.
टेक द माइक.
Good afternoon, sir. My question is that with the current volatile market, what are the behaviors are changing in the investors? Like how their behaviors are changing with regard to the market, right?
देखो, बिहेवियर में ऐसा कोई चेंज नहीं आया है. जब मार्केट गिरती है तो सब डरने लगते हैं, उन्हें लगता है और गिरेगी तब एंटर करेंगे. और जब मार्केट चढ़ती है तो उनको लगता है ट्रेन छूट गई, अब हमें इन्वेस्ट कर देना चाहिए. जो मैंने एक आपको मंत्रा बताया पावर ऑफ कंपाउंडिंग के लिए, अननेसेसरी अपने पोर्टफोलियो को टच करने की ज़रूरत नहीं होती. मार्केट गिरेगा, मार्केट चढ़ेगा, वो उसका नेचर है. वी आर नॉट सपोज टू गिव यू द नंबर कि कितना चढ़ जाएगा, कितना गिर जाएगा. हम उस बिजनेस में नहीं हैं. हम उस बिजनेस में हैं वेयर इन वी वॉन्ट पीपल टू स्टे इन्वेस्ट एंड क्रिएट वेल्थ फॉर देमसेल्फ. तो जो बिहेवियरल चेंज की आप बात कर रहे हो, वो सिर्फ एक ही ट्रेड चाहिए. बी पेशेंट, स्टे इन्वेस्टेड, and over a period of time all these volatility because of whatever news which comes into picture is taken care. And markets of course is driven on the earnings. So the moment you will have earnings coming into the market, you will see markets giving that kind of returns.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yes, please.
Good evening, sir. I'm
Hi.
Shubham Kumar from the batch 27. My question would be around like the people who are a little bit aged, but as India is growing and every country wants to bet on India and they want to invest in India, even the elderly people who are looking for the assets to invest. So what are your insights on how Indian debt mutual funds will have the projection that ideally that we look at US as one of the best debt markets in the world. So what are the projection of Indian debt markets to get mature to that kind of extent, to which I think every other guy in India is talking about the equities. So I was looking out for your insights on how the debt markets you look, or the projection that you think that Indian debt market can have.
Perfect. You said one line that, US market is one of the best in debt. How come you concluded that, if
okay.
I may ask that question?
Okay. So very interestingly, whenever Mr. Powell is in the news, the US debt projections are fluctuating, and everyone, we see Bloomberg websites or any news channel that we are talking about is talking about the debt projections and how the interest rates will fluctuate. So the people in US are like 50 to 60% of them are invested in US stock market. Well, in India, we are quite yet to reach to that level.
Right.
So whenever we think of that projection, and the people are risk averse, by most people are risk averse. So thinking about that, their risk aversion, I think debt market is that kind of an instrument where many people can certainly invest. So
Okay. So two parts to your question. Number one, when you yourself said that in US 60-70% people invest in equity market, not in fixed income. Now if India as an economy will transit from developing nation to a developed nation, they would also want people to participate more on the equity side, right? In fact, in India, if you look at debt per se, the taxation doesn't make it a very attractive place to go, all right? So that is the reason you've seen a lot of shift happening from debt to equity. Number two, if you globally look at the interest rate scenario, there is a dramatic shift in that. If you look at a couple of countries like Japan and so on and so forth, the interest rates have actually on a 30-year high. Japan used to be, negative interest rate scenario. Today, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's more than 3%.
yes.
Right? US is trading at 17-18%, 17-18 years all-time, high interest rate scenario. So globally, there is a shift which is happening on the interest rate ecosystem. India, of course, being part of that system, will not get insulated. So यहाँ पे भी impact होगा. The only caveat is the taxation. थोड़ा सा अगर attractive हो जाता है, तो आपको दिखेगा वहाँ पे investment जाते हुए. उसका सबसे अच्छा तरीका होता है कि आप एक ऐसा हाइब्रिड म्यूचुअल फंड पकड़ लीजिए जो डेट और इक्विटी दोनों में एलोकेट करता है. उससे एज एन इंडिविजुअल आपका टैक्स लायबिलिटी कम हो जाता है, एंड यू कैन प्रोबेबली जनरेट लेस रिटर्न देन इक्विटी, बट नॉट दैट लेस के इट विल नॉट बीट द इन्फ्लेशन और not give you boost in terms of the portfolio allocation. So that's my answer to your question.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right, thank you. और अब मैं चाहूंगी लेफ्ट हैंड साइड से कोई पूछना चाहेगा. पूरा फोकस सेंटर में ही है. लेफ्ट दीजिए माइक. द लास्ट वन. या टेक द माइक प्लीज.
So I wanted to ask about what are your views on the REITs, whether we should invest in them for the long term or not.
See, there is no harm to have REITs in your portfolio, but the only suggestion is once your portfolio grow to a level where you can have REITs, InvITs, overseas equities or SIFs or any such thing, then only start putting it in your portfolios. Once you are starting to build your portfolio, it's advisable to have only debt and equity per se. So, the basic step to build a portfolio is to have an emergency corpus of 3 to 6 months of expense, then have some equity exposure, then have some fixed income, and then you grow to, REITs, InvITs, AIFs, PMS, so on and so forth, whatever you want to add in your portfolio. But it's a good investment opportunity one can look at from investing perspective.
Anyone else from that corner?
Sorry.
Okay, now we come to right hand side. Anyone? Yes, please. Thank you.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dev Tripathi.
Hi.
You had mentioned 50-30-20 ratio to split your income in that case. Let's take out luxury. If I'm just saving 50% of my income, then how would you like to split that? How much would you like to save in cash in that, and how much would you recommend, let's say, to invest in low risk, high liquid assets and high risk, low liquid assets like stocks and cryptocurrency, just for example?
I mean, you're saying whatever is your investable surplus, you want a bifurcation in that.
Yeah, what ratio can I invest my savings,
Okay.
let's say?
So see, that ratios of course depend on your risk taking capabilities. I have always been a moderately risky person. So I have always had a debt portion. Okay, my portfolio, if I remember correct, usually used to have 65, 35 initial days when I was of your age. Now it has commodities also, now it has PMS also. But it all depends how much risk can you take and how much information and knowledge you have about it. You spoke about bitcoins or cryptocurrency. If I'll ask 5 questions on crypto, I'm sure you will not have answers of 4 out of those 5. So my point is, get the complete information. If you know that you know that asset class very well, then only go and take that call. I'm sure you know the backdrop of Wazir X, what happened with them, right? So I'm not getting into those details, but you need to have that information first hand before you take a decision or investments in your portfolio.
Yep, thanks.
Yeah.
ऑलराइट, तो इसी के साथ हमारा Q&A सेशन यहीं पर ही खत्म होता है. सर, थैंक यू सो मच. आपने स्टूडेंट्स के जितने भी सवाल थे काफी अच्छे से आपने उनका जवाब दिया, और मुझे काफी अच्छा लगा कि आपने जो प्रैक्टिकल एग्जांपल्स दिए, मुझे लगता है कि बच्चों को उससे काफी ज्यादा क्लैरिटी और नॉलेज मिलने में मदद मिली होगी. आप लोगों का कैसे एक्सपीरियंस रहा? तालियों के जरिए बताएं, उसी से ही हम अंदाजा लगा सकते हैं. बढ़िया सर. सर, थैंक यू सो मच.
Thank you, Dipali.
so
Thank
much,
you.
sir.
It was
Nice
pleasure
to
to be here.
Same here, sir.
One last piece of advice which informally I want to give all the students is that there is one mantra if you want to create a decent wealth in your life, and that's discipline.
Yes.
All right. Discipline is something which will play a role in your professional life, personal life, wealth creation, whatever you call it. Be disciplined, be focused, and I'm sure you will fly high once you're out of the college. All the best. Thank you, Dipali. Thank you, CNBC Awaaz.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.